Part 9. The Throat of the City. October 30th, 1889, City of London, dusk. London had begun to breathe. Not metaphorically, but with rhythm. The fog rose and fell in unison, like the tide pulled by a moon unseen. Windows trembled without wind. The gaslights dimmed in pulses, as though responding to a heartbeat below. Detective Inspector Margaret Holloway stood at the edge of Paternoster Row, watching the cathedral dome of St. Paul's loom like a stone sentinel. The symbols had converged here, etched along curbs and archways, painted on sewer grates, carved into the doors of churches. She was being summoned, not by men, but by the city itself. Beneath St. Paul's, the forgotten chamber. The entrance wasn't on any map. Holloway found it behind a collapsed tomb in the crypt's northwest wall, a brass disc embedded in the stone with 5 concentric circles, 1 for each of the chorus. She pressed the flat stone from her pocket into the centre. It turned like a gear. Stone groaned, dust fell, the wall opened, behind it a staircase spiralling down, far deeper than the cathedral's foundations should allow. She descended into silence. The chamber. The air changed, not colder, denser. Every breath felt like inhaling water and ash. The room at the bottom was circular, the size of a theatre pit. Stone benches lined the edges. In the centre stood a raised platform with an altar of obsidian, etched with impossible lettering that shimmered like oil. Around the altar, 5 masks were placed in a ring. Gold, bone white, crimson, black, mirror. The 6th mask, the one Holloway had seen in her dream, floated above the altar. It looked like her own face, eyes open, mouth agape. The vision. She approached it, and the world split. The chamber faded into a vision so sharp it cut. She stood on a stage. The audience was infinite, shadowed heads, breathing as one. The voice came, not as a sound, but a knowing. This is not death, Margaret Holloway. This is expression. The final act requires the mouth, not to speak, but to surrender, to become the throat of the city. Back in the chamber. Her knees buckled. Blood dripped from her nose again. Behind her, someone clapped slowly. 3 times. She turned. Hensley stood at the base of the stairs, not dressed as a constable, but in robes of charcoal velvet. Around his neck hung a ring of small bones. He removed a mask from his coat. The 6th mask, a second one. He smiled. You weren't the only one chosen. The true chorus. He stepped into the circle. You thought this was about a killer, Margaret. About madness, but it's music, all of it. He gestured to the city above. We've taught it to speak. Every death was a note, every mask a chord, and now we are at the crescendo. He offered her the mask. Put it on, let London sing. Her hand shook, she could feel the pull, the invitation, but deeper still, an old resistance, the part of her forged in grief, in silence, the part that refused to be used. The decision. She reached out. Hensley smiled, and then she dropped the match. The oil she had poured along the walls ignited in a rush of flame. The chamber screamed, stone cracked, shadows howled, the masks burned with brilliant light, gold melting, bone shattering. Hensley lunged, she fired, he fell without a sound. As the chamber collapsed, she ran, up the stairs, through smoke and falling stone. The voice roared behind her, not angry, desperate. Margaret, you were to be the throat. She didn't answer. She didn't have to. The silence was her no. October 31st, 1889, morning. London awoke to rain. The fog had lifted. The birds returned. No one remembered the night before, except Margaret Holloway. She stood atop Ludgate Hill, watching the city exhale, and for the first time in weeks, she could no longer hear the voice. But deep beneath her feet, buried in stone and ash, the chorus still waited, for another time, for another mouth.